Hello people, it's your boy Osman back again with another Manchester United video. As always, get yourself locked in, get your opinions. I have actually tweeted out the link so you can call in for a change. So if you want to do that as well, make sure you get your opinions to be known. And of course, get your comments in, slap a like, subscribe to the channel. But listen, before I even start doing all that bullshit promoting, as you can see from the title, this one's a bit of a different podcast. It's just going to be me giving my thoughts on the Greenwood situation. Before we delve into that, I just want to make it very clear. These are just my own opinions. Of course, you're entitled to your own opinion, but this is just my opinion on the situation. I'm going to keep it very straight to the point. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it or so forth. Just completely my wholehearted opinion. Don't represent anyone else apart from myself and, of course, this channel. But, yeah, that being said, obviously Manchester United lost to Tottenham. Yes, you're probably thinking, Osman, we haven't even reacted to that. Of course, we'll be addressing that tomorrow. Was actually meant to be addressing that yesterday with Kish, of course, a resident Spurs fan. But I just want to play 5-side instead. So that's why that hasn't really been addressed too much. Just quickly, embarrassing. What can I say? I mean, we are going to delve into it tomorrow. I've got a podcast tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so we will delve into that a bit more detail with a couple of guests. But yeah, just absolute shambles, which is basically Manchester United in a nutshell at this current moment in time. And this is another example of that. So yeah, as always, get your comments in. If you wish to call in and have your say regarding the situation, feel free to do so. My Twitter handle is there, Usman Talks United, or Usman Talk United, should I say. You can call in, have your say. I'm just getting a couple of callers. If anyone's interested, of course, 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever, come give your opinions. But that being said, thank you as always for all the support on the content. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to be a bit more consistent in the coming months because I'm actually available work-wise, so I've got a bit more time on my hands. So I'm going to try and upload as much as possible. So like I said, tomorrow we'll delve into that. Anyways, enough waffling. Let me just quickly drink some water. If you are tuning in, please do slap a like and obviously get your comments in. I'm going to try be as engaging as I possibly can with you lovely people. If you're watching this on repeat as well, get your comments in as well. Of course, I will be replying to those later. It's just water. Anyways, Mason Greenwood, right? Haven't done this video. A lot of people ask, well, I say a lot of people, a handful of people are asking me, what are your opinions? Why have you not spoke about it? Honest truth is I was waiting for a club statement. I don't really want to, haven't really spoke on too much detail or dedicate a video to this individual because for me, I think it was important to wait for the club statement to understand and then assess the situation, of course, off the back of that outcome. And we finally have an outcome, which is for me, first and foremost, it's a massive relief because to be honest, it's just been an absolute shit show from start to finish. I mean, it's taken so long to come to this conclusion. The conclusion should have been swifter than it has been. I'm sure most fans would agree with that. I just think whatever, yes or no, or whatever the solution was, they need to come to that conclusion way quicker, man. I mean, it's just been dragged out. I mean, it's been like 9 months or whatever it's been. I feel like it's been an eternity, to be honest. I mean, I'm happy that it's over. I'm happy that us as fans can move on. I'm hopefully him as a player, a person, a human being, that kind of thing can move on. And as a club, we can actually move on. This dark cloud that's been essentially looming over the club has somewhat been lifted. But I say all this, and then we read the statements, and this is where the title is somewhat. You could be classing it as misleading, but hence why I put a question mark at the end of the title. Has Mason Greenwood been released from Manchester United? Should have probably been the title, but it is what it is. The title currently reads "Breaking News: Mason Greenwood has been released?" Question mark. Essentially, I put that title up because that was what I was made to believe. But since putting the title out, there has been reports from fairly credible journalists, in particular Samuel Lockers, coming out that Manchester United may potentially be looking at a loan move, not him, not a contract termination, him release, etc. Potentially, Mason Greenwood would be loaned out with an odd chance of Manchester United hoping that this is somewhat blown over. He proves himself on the pitch or whatever it may be, and then he'll come back in the foreseeable future. The season after or the season after that, whatever it may be. Essentially, the plan being ride out the wave, ride out the storm. the backlash was absolutely astronomical when the suggested reports were coming out that Manchester United are inclined to keeping him. The backlash was ridiculous, and understandably so. I was a part of the backlash, but it seemed that the club did a complete 180 off the back of that. And for me, that just screams naivety, incompetence, and quite frankly, embarrassing. That's not really making sense. But what I mean, I felt embarrassment. A club of Manchester United stature are incapable of dealing with. Yeah, okay, granted, it's an extremely sensitive topic and situation, but they're just pathetic at everything that they do, aren't they? As a football club, they can't do anything right, and that for me is the biggest issue. And look, at the end of the day, everyone's going to have their opinions on it. Hence why I said these opinions only represent me. But for me, the whole manner in which they've dealt with the situation has been absolutely pathetic from start to finish. I mean, the outcome for me personally is the right outcome with him no longer being affiliated with the club. I think that is definitely the right outcome. But the manner in which we got to that outcome could have easily been sorted a lot quicker and swiftly. And to come on to the statements, it's extremely unclear what the statements are referring to. I mean, it doesn't really explain what the situation is. There's a lot of grey area there. It should be black and white, in my personal opinion. He's either staying because of X, Y, and Z, or he's going because of X, Y, and Z. I don't understand why there's a grey area where there could be misinterpretation of the statement, or people can draw their own lines. It should have been extremely clear where they draw the line in the sand, and that is definitely not happened from the statement. And I, for one, left even more confused in what is actually going on. Like I said, I don't actually know if he's alone, if he's been released, terminated, etc. That hasn't been made clear either, which is, again, extremely alarming in itself. It's just a lot of issues with the club coming to the fore, which is the board are absolutely clueless, have no idea of how to run a football club, constantly thinking about PR and marketing and how we can spin things to make ourselves look the best way, shape, or form. And that, for me, isn't something that should come into play within such a sensitive topic. Do what's right and do it properly. It's as simple as that. If the club, if the club is tarnished off the back of that, then so be it. But do things properly and do things with the, proper procedures. And that has just not been shown time and time again throughout this entire situation with Mason Greenwood. So for me, that is a big issue. But like I said, the statement for me essentially said, we want to keep him, but the backlash was too big, so we can't. I mean, that's kind of what it reads, because it kind of contradicts itself. One second, you're saying that, he's done something wrong, and the second you're saying, well, he's not guilty, or they haven't proved it. I mean, it didn't really make sense to me. I don't know what you guys thought on that situation, but yeah, like I said, why is there grey area? It's extremely black and white. You either want to keep him because of X, Y, and Z, you don't want to keep him. And I just don't think the club made that clear, and I think that's a massive issue. And I said this on another platform not so long ago, but I was reading the statement, and obviously the first paragraph, I'm like, okay, this is, the right thing, they're doing the right thing. And then as I was reading the statement, it got to a point during halfway through, I was like, wait, are we keeping him? Because they kind of did just did a 180 within the middle of the statement. It felt like we were keeping him. I mean, for me, as a fan, who supports this club and has supported this club throughout the entirety of this life, looking at other rival fans comment on the situation, I feel a massive sense of embarrassment. I mean, they couldn't even do the bare minimum, which is write a proper statement that's extremely clear on what it's saying. I mean, you basically flip-flopped throughout the statement, and it was extremely unclear what you were trying to suggest. I mean, if anything, like I said, you left us with more questions than answers, and that is something that is extremely alarming, especially given the situation. I mean, it wasn't a difficult statement to write. Manchester United are no longer keeping Mason Greenwood out of the football club because of X, Y, and Z. That's all you had to say, essentially. You kind of gave... I don't understand. I just don't understand that paragraph, that they basically gave him an out, or an excuse, or whatever it may be. I just don't get that situation. And also, I don't get the fact that they haven't made it clear if he's released, if he's going on loan, if he's X, Y, and Z. I mean, I don't think loan is the right way to go about it. However, at least make it be known that is the situation. So us as fans, at least know where we stand, or what's happening, because that hasn't been made clear either. So the whole situation is an absolute shit show for me. Manchester United showing their arse as an incompetent football club. We already knew this as fans, but rivals are probably starting to click on and think, okay, this is probably why they are XYZ out, or Glazers out, should I say, or Murta out, whatever it may be, what your guys' agenda is. But general consensus, right decision, a manner in which we've gone about it, absolutely embarrassing, pathetic. Statement, embarrassing, pathetic. As a football fan, I feel embarrassed to be affiliated with the football club in some way, shape, or form. As a supporter, of course, and for me, the club needs to fix up and sort this shit out, because this is not acceptable of a club of this stature. I mean, you got football fans around the world looking at a statement, you know, is Mason Greenwood be punished for his actions, or the ramifications, and does not send the right message. Needs to be black and white, needs to be extremely clear, straight to the point, and that has not been done. And on top of that, I think it was Mitt or Arnold, whoever it was, that have come out and put a statement on Twitter, essentially chatting shit as well, basically. You know, what is that statement? He said something along the lines of, "Oh, we've got some extra evidence." What evidence, bro? I mean, if it's evidence to suggest he's innocent, then by all means, bring it to the forefront. If it's evidence to support him, bring it to the forefront. If it's evidence against him, bring it to the forefront. I've just realised I haven't got my hearing aids in. Give me 2 seconds, because I've got a caller waiting. Bilal, I can see you, my brother. Give me a second. But yeah, listen. Before I don't know why I forgot. I've done a call-in show without my hearing aids. That's absolute genius. Shout out to Mason, evening, my brother. Shout out to Benji, as always, showing love. Hopefully, Poch is doing you well. Thank you, Adam, for your love. And as I understand, Mason Green is still getting his wages. Is what it is. Give me 10 seconds. I'm just gonna get my hearing aids because I've left them in the other room. Okay, and we are back. Some of you probably don't even know I'm partially deaf, to be fair. I don't think I've ever mentioned that on stream. But yes, I am partially deaf. Yeah. Basically, long story short, I wear hearing aids. I can't really see them anyways. And when I'm doing solo shows, I don't put them on, so because I don't really need to. I'm not talking to anyone. But anyways, it's a call-in show. The doors are extremely aggressive here. I probably should have said that as well. But yeah, Bilal, whenever you're ready, give me a shout. Ben, you shout to you. We want to do regular shows. This leaves me on nicely, as I've already mentioned. Tomorrow back at 8 o'clock, and also Thursday back with Alice at 8 o'clock. Essentially, I'm trying to do at least 2 shows a week, as I already mentioned. I do apologize not reacting. I was meant to do a react show with Kish, who's a Tottenham fan, after the game, or even Sunday night, but that didn't happen because I was out with friends, basically playing football. I was just seeing if I've still got it, as I said in mid, because quite clearly we flipping need one at the club. But yeah, I'm going to quickly close the door here. I'm going to get Bilal. Do apologize, my brother, but the wind is absolutely outrageous at the moment. So yeah, like I said, we'll try and do more call-in shows. That was actually a staple on this channel. 4 shows a week. But yeah, the call-in show was actually a staple on the channel, and I haven't done it in a while. But of course, I thought this was a perfect opportunity. If you do want to call in, my handle is right there on the screen. I have tweeted it out, the link, as Bilal has done here. But listen, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to get this brother on. Right, Bilal, my brother. First and foremost, shout out to you. Obviously, thank you for coming on. Obviously, come to have your say. I believe this is the first time on the show. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And obviously, the background needs to change out. But listen, obviously, as you can see from the title, Mason Greenwood, as I've already said, I don't know if he's actually been released, or if it's a lot or whatnot. But I'm just going to give you the floor while I change the background, bro. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Obviously, you know, speak your mind, my guy.
Yeah, Usman, it's my first time calling, so big up, bro. Yeah, just regarding the situation, I feel like the club tested the waters last week. I genuinely believe they did want to bring him back, but then just the backlash that they got on social media, as well as obviously some of the pundits and some sort of big names in the media sort of speaking out against it, and then obviously Manchester United is not a football club anymore; it's a PR company. So they probably looked at that and they didn't want that negative PR coming into the club. So they probably just thought, you know what, it's probably best if we sort of reverse this decision. So they've done a complete U-turn on it, which I'm sure obviously most of the fan base are happy about. But at the same time, they haven't really given us a clear indication as to exactly what's going to be happening. So we don't know if they're going to be terminating it completely, as in he will never, we're going to be paying him off, or if we're going to be selling him, we're going to be loaning him out. And one thing that really frustrates me is when I'm not sure how you feel about this, but I just don't understand why it's taken so long. I mean, if they were planning on not bringing him back to the team at all, then in June or July, just ship him off to, because obviously you're not going to sell him to another English team. But I'm sure there are clubs around Europe, the likes of Juventus, Inter Milan. I know Inter Milan are looking for a striker, Roma. Even if we got 30, 40 million for him, you can ship him off. It's like, then that way it's like you're bringing in money at the same time you're also getting rid of a player that the fans don't want at the club anymore. So, and then we could have reinvested that money into the squad. But the fact that we just have all these sort of indecisiveness, just diddly dallying constantly at the club is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up some fantastic points. I just want to quickly address the first one that I completely agree with you. But knowing you obviously alluded to the fact that the club essentially put out a statement last week to test the waters. Do you feel like if the response was different, that Mason Greenwood would still be Manchester United player and he would obviously be taking some part in this season, so to speak?
Yeah, 100%, man. I definitely think that if there wasn't as much of a negative sort of outcry on social media, he would be integrated back into sort of the first team training, and we could possibly seeing him sort of feature maybe in September, October times. It just really obviously depends on his sort of match fitness as well, because he hasn't played football for 18 months. But yeah, the club have definitely sort of done a U-turn on that, man. There's no doubt in that.
Yeah, and look, for me personally, I just think that's a disgrace in itself. I mean, at the end of the day, as I've said already, it's extremely black and white. You either support or not, well, don't use the word support, but you either, you've gone through all this process of doing an investigation, so we've been told. You should have an outcome either way. I just don't understand how a club of our stature has essentially done a U-turn off the back of social media. So obviously I think you're spot on. I do agree with you. I do think if there wasn't that outcry on social media, he would still be a Manchester United player. And that for me still doesn't sit right. At the end of the day, they should have done what they thought was the best decision. Whether they wanted to keep him, they gotta, come out with chest and say we want to keep him for X, Y, and Z reason. Or if they want to get rid of him, they had to be very clear and blunt with that situation. I don't think they've done either, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly, Usman. Just sorry to cut you off there. Just on that point that you made, it's like the club literally have no backbone, So it's like if you were going to bring him back, you should have just stood by your guns then, because in the statement it says that he's innocent, but we're still gonna get rid of him. So that doesn't really make sense. So if you genuinely did your investigation and you believe that he's innocent, then stand by him. So now it almost seems as if like they instead of they probably promised Greenwood that we're gonna stand by you. We know you're innocent. We've done our investigation, but in the last second, it's almost like they've stabbed him in the back now and just thrown him under the bus. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it just reeks of incompetence. I mean, the club has got absolutely no clue of what they're doing. They don't know what they wouldn't know what right or wrong is if they hit him in the face. Essentially, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably have stopped. They probably have given him his word. I personally think, as someone that has worked with people that do PR, obviously I work in social media, but from having conversation with people that work predominantly in PR, I kind of know how it works to an extent. And in this scenario, it does seem like Manchester United have bided their time. Obviously, you kind of mentioned the fact that it's taken so long, and me as a fan, alongside yourself, extremely frustrated at how long it's taken. As you said, we could have potentially sold him, got money for him ages ago if we got a decision, but I just think they were biding their time. They were essentially they were letting the tides fall. Essentially, like it was just wasting time, seeing the pressure, the smoke off him, seeing how the longer they sort of lead it out, hopefully, it's less pressure on him. But obviously with the backlash, they realised quite quickly that, it's not going to, regardless of how long they're going to take, the fans are not going to forget, and rightfully so in my personal opinion. But I just think, for me, they have probably promised him, said, look, we're going to do X, Y, and Z PR, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and eventually we'll. Oh my bad! I just realised I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. Yeah, they probably promised him, look, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. we're going to do this PR, we're going to slowly do this. By this month, this is going to happen. We're going to get the ball rolling, and then eventually we're going to integrate you back into the team. It does seem like that. And I do think that post that you referred to was them testing the waters, as you quite rightly said. And I think that's an issue in itself. I mean, the fact that we've got people at the top making the decision, and these are the kind of decisions that they're making, there's no morality in the club. And to be honest, a part of me is extremely like disconnected with the club off the back of this whole situation. I just feel like I obviously I love Manchester United, obviously, but it's just a part of me just it just stinks. I just think the whole situation stinks.
Yeah. And even to be honest with you, for me, it just comes down to, like, even from the club's perspective, it literally came down to a financial decision. It wasn't a morality or standing by a player or doing an investigation. Because let's be honest, like if Greenwood was not £100 million asset, he would have been let go a long time ago, you know. But so even the club are probably thinking, oh, we don't want to lose £100 million asset on our hands, especially the fact they came through the academy, so that's pure profit. So for them, it's just, you know, Manchester United, we're just sort of we put finances above morality, we put finances above success. So for them, it literally just came down to that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's spot on. I do think if he wasn't a player of the quality that he possesses, obviously we all know how good he is. He's probably our best academy player off the back of the class of '92, realistically, in my opinion, anyways. In terms of that actual potential, I know people say Rashford or X, Y, and Z, but I don't know if you can count Pogba in that conversation. But in terms of actual quality, I think Greenwood tops most of them player. I mean, he's unbelievably talented, and I don't think that's ever something that's come in disrepute. But at the same time, the fact that he is so talented has been one of the issues as well. I mean, you mentioned the fact they could have potentially sold for 100 million, which of course that is possibly true as well. But money aside, would there have been this much of a thorough investigation if he wasn't as good as he is? If he was a lesser player in the team or a fringe player? Obviously, don't want to mention someone because obviously for obvious reasons don't want to affiliate them with this case. But if it was a player that wasn't really particularly looked at as an important component of the team, would there have been this much interest in the situation? Would there have longed it out as much? I don't personally think so either. I do think if it was someone that was essentially surplus to requirements, I think the club would have got rid of him a long time ago, because they had no reason to long it out, because they don't have any intention of trying to keep him. So that obviously the long it out for the hope that it would sort of brush over essentially, and of course that's not happened. But Bilal, just quickly before I let you go, what are your overarching sort of thoughts? Do you think he's going to get released? Do you think he's going on loan and potentially come back, or do you think this is it? He's done now for Greenwood, and obviously how does that make you feel?
Yeah, to be honest with you, just because of the sensitivity of this case, I don't know. I don't care how much time passes by, fans are not going to be able to get over it. So even if he goes on a year's loan, he comes back next summer, fans are still going to be against it. So for me personally, I think it's probably best to either terminate his contract, give him. I think he's owed about 6-7 million. Just give him that. Yeah, give him, pay him out, and then just, you know, wish him the best of luck, and he can maybe go somewhere abroad. But if we were to sort of send him out on loan, I just feel like you're basically kicking the can down the road, and then you same issue will come back next summer, and then you have the whole circus going on again, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But listen, Bilal, thank you for being the first caller, my brother. Thank you for obviously calling in. Obviously, I'm going to try and do more of these. Obviously, try and get as many fans as involved as you possibly can. But bro, make sure you do tweet me out as well, so I know your handle as well. And then
sure, nice one, bro. Take it easy.
Thank you, bro. God bless you, man. Okay, just that, Bilal, if you do want to call in, obviously shout out to him. Absolutely fantastic points raised there, especially given it's his first time on the show as well, which is great to see. Listen, if you want to get yourselves involved, as you can see, my handle is here on the screen. I have tweeted out the link. Come and have your say regarding the Greenwood situation. Like I said, fan calling was extremely prominent on this channel. I haven't done it in a while, but I think this is a great time to bring it back. Obviously, when you hear from you guys, the fans, at the end of the day, there's a lot of different opinions. Of course, we only represent ourselves, and when we obviously relay those opinions. For me personally, I'm just a guy sat in a room basically talking about Manchester United, which is the club that I love. And I have to obviously talk about this situation now that it's actually come out and there's a concrete statement. Well, I say concrete, it's not really that concrete. But that being said, obviously keep getting your comments in. I'm reading them out, and obviously slap a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. Tycoon saying Man United dropped the ball, Liverpool will get him. He's going to play for Jamaica. Listen, first things first, right? For me, it's very simple. If he goes to Liverpool, he goes to Liverpool. It is what it is. He's their problem now. I just don't really care. I mean, as I've just said on to Bilal previously, he's one of our most talented players. I actually think, off the back of Class of '92, he's probably the most talented player that's come out of the academy, and he's definitely in the conversation for it to be top 2, top 3 push. I mean, the only other players that you can really put in that conversation, possibly Rashford and Pogba, if you count Pogba, Ravel Morrison, whatever you want to do. Look, for me, he was absolutely unreal. He was destined for greatness. He was untouchable in his eyes, quite clearly, given the actions that he felt. You know, he well, basically what he's done, essentially, allegedly done, should I say. It's a massive loss. As a football fan, I'm absolutely devastated. I can't lie. I am absolutely devastated. But as a human being, which is more important than football, believe it or not, I am absolutely buzzing and relieved. And that is the only feeling that you should be feeling, in my personal opinion. At the end of the day, we've done the right thing, as I've already alluded to, gone about it the complete wrong way, but come to the right conclusion. I do not care if he goes to Liverpool, do not care if he goes into Milan, Man City, wherever. He come in the treble at Man City, I could not give two shits. All I know is that we have done the right thing. That is it. It's as simple as that. We have done the right thing. If Liverpool want to touch him with the ball, that is up to them. They can do what the hell they want. I'm not going to comment on them, and obviously their morality. I'm sure there's a couple of examples in the past. But that being said, Manchester United have done the right thing. That is the only thing that matters for me as a Manchester United fan. Whoever he goes to, it's up to him and his career and his agent, etc. Got no issues with him playing in the Premier League. That's up to him and the other Premier League teams. What I did have an issue was him playing for Manchester United. I did not want to go to Old Trafford as a season ticket holder, sitting in my seat, paying my hard-earned bloody cash to get to the stadium, and of course for my ticket itself, to watch him represent us. I mean, he does not represent me, does not represent the football club, and I'm happy the club have done the right thing for once in life, but we will get back to that shortly. James saying here, shout out to James, always showing love. There was no way back. I actually disagree. Not because I think there is a way back, but I do think the club felt there was a way back. As we've already mentioned, I do think the club definitely put a feeler out, and social media did its thing, which was beautiful to see. I don't even know if I saw the initial statement that everyone's referencing, but that being said, the backlash definitely changed their mind. I mean, I think they kind of referenced it in their statement as well, essentially saying, you know, because of the backlash that we did on 180. I mean, they kind of referenced it indirectly. Arnold or Murtaugh, whatever the hell the statement I read earlier as well, he referenced the backlash as well of the fans, the importance of the fans. And for me personally, a club of Manchester United stature should not be relying on social media to make their decision. I mean, I think that's absolutely embarrassing and inexcusable of a club of this stature to have their unbelievably important decisions deterred or flipped based on fan reaction. Of course, the fans are important. Of course, you know, fans are the lifeblood of every club, and I get that. But if you're making a decision on this magnitude, on a situation where it's extremely sensitive, you best make the right decision. Because for me, it screams out that you made the wrong decision, and you've basically gone off the back of your decision because you realize you fucked up. But why did we have to bring that to your attention? Why did we have to make you realize that you messed up? Why could you not come to that conclusion, consensus yourself? And that for me is a major issue, that we got people at the top, as Bilal rightly said, you know, looking out for the bottom dollar, essentially, you know, the net profit, the XYZ, you know, the money side of things, not looking at morality. I mean, some things in life are more important than football, and morality is definitely one of them. You know, having right morals as a human being is more important to me than my club. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say that how it is. And Mason Greenwood, for me, crossed my moral grounds. Obviously, I don't make a decision, so it's completely irrelevant how I feel in that, you know, in that respect. But as a club, you have to take everything into consideration. I mean, it really stunk. That statement really stunk to me, that we basically wanted to keep him, but you guys pushed him out the door, you know, with your reaction to our feeler tweet. And that for me is wrong. At the end of the day, the club did want to keep him. That's how I feel anyways. The club wanted to keep him, but they realized they couldn't because the backlash was it was too much for the club and they couldn't handle it. So for me, a part of me is disappointed. I'm not surprised. However, I mean, I'm sure I speak on most Manchester United fans, if not all my United fans. Our board is absolutely pathetic, embarrassing, incompetent, clueless. I mean, I could go on. they have no idea what they're doing as a football club, on the pitch, off the pitch. They have no idea how to run the football club from a business point of view, from a fan perspective. They're so out of touch. It's absolutely ridiculous. And people will say there were fans that wanted to keep him. Yeah, of course they were. And that's up to them if they want to, whatever they want to do, forgive him or forget, whatever they want to do. But for me personally, you can't be doing shit like that. I just don't understand how they could come to that conclusion, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, it really is. Shout out to Bilal. Thank you for having me on. Absolute pleasure, bro. It spoke so well. Thank you as well for calling in. Obviously, like I said, if you do want to call in, feel free to do so. You will have to probably follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with stuff, because I'm a bit sporadic with my uploads. I'm trying to be a bit more consistent. As I said, tomorrow 8 o'clock and Thursday 8 o'clock, those shows will be happening. Alice will be joining me on Thursday, who's absolutely phenomenal, which she does. Probably going to be focusing more so on the actual team and the situation going on at the club from a footballing perspective rather than what's going on with the Greenwood situation. But I felt it was necessary to address this on my channel rather than just with a tweet or a TikTok or whatever I normally do. I think it's extremely important that we don't shy away from these important conversations, regardless of how it may affect my brand, as I've been told, or clout. I've been told on Twitter, oh, you're not spoken about Greenwood because of your brand or clout. I mean, when have I ever not spoken my mind? I just don't understand. But for me personally, it was important to wait to the statement, and obviously we've got that now. Mohammed here saying, Usman, it's the correct decision and he had to move on. Plus, Richard Arnold should be sacked. Is it Arnold? Is it Richard Arnold's statement? I thought it was Meta. It was Richard Arnold's statement then probably. I read it on Twitter anyways. It must have been Richard Arnold. I think a few people are saying it was Richard Arnold's statement. Listen, one thing I will say is, just to finish off, whoever's in charge of that statement or writing that statement and oversaw that statement and gave that statement a green light, they need to be sacked, because they are absolutely embarrassing. To think that they are representing Manchester United, oh my God, that's actually painful. We are being represented by these people. You got to remember, our club is a reflection on the fans and vice versa. You know, when the fans do stupid things or chant stupid things, that reflects badly on the club. And when the club does stupid things, that reflects badly on us fans. But we have to go and defend the club in this, to our friends or in public settings. And that represents us as well, that our club is accepting this absolute nonsense of a situation. It's kind of like, I don't want to bring other clubs into it, but kind of how when Liverpool players wore that Suarez shirt, basically saying they're with him, under everything, that reflects badly on Liverpool fans, because obviously your club is essentially saying it's okay to be racist in that scenario, and they were. Let's be real. And for me, I didn't want to be a club affiliated with this. I didn't want to be a fan affiliated with this, let alone our club to be affiliated with such a monstrosity of a situation. And I'm happy that they come to that conclusion, as Mohammed has alluded to here. But yeah, Richard Arnold or whoever else is in charge of this whole debacle, shambles, they need to roll. They won't, because when are there ever ramifications at Manchester United Football Club and people held accountable for that absolute shit show? It never happens, but it definitely needs to happen. Hafi is in thoughts on Abid Trappers. Oh God. Listen, this is slightly off topic, but I didn't do the show last night with Kish because I was at 5-a-side. As I've already mentioned, I play CDM, centre back, centre mid, wherever I needed, but it's only 5-a-side. And Abid, if you ever watch this, which I'm sure you will at some point, I don't know how much you paid Aslam to give you 6.5, but it must have been good money. I'm happy to take bets. I'm happy to take payment off you, wherever it requires to gas you up, because I've never seen a stronger 2 out of 10 performance in my entire life. That was absolutely abysmal. And as I said after the game, I don't know why you think you're Cristiano Ronaldo shooting from everywhere, because you definitely ain't, my bro. Take that Ronaldo shirt off your back, because you've lost your head. Anyways, that is it for today. Like I said, back to football talk tomorrow. Myself and a couple of the guys will be joining me at 8 o'clock live in the building. We'll do more fan calling shows. Please do follow me on Twitter for that, so you know where the link is. Obviously, I'll actually start putting in the chat as well, so people who are watching from the audience can also get involved. But listen, that aside, it's been your boy Usman. Thank you to Bilal for calling in. Make sure you slap a like in the video, subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow 8 o'clock. Follow me on socials. Apart from that, Mason Greenwood released, we don't know. To conclude, we don't know if he's released.